doing since you're pregnant that are things that will continue after you have the baby?
Yoga at the daily. Just love starting the day with it. It's just an awesome way to just kind of center and ground and set an intention for my day, and just come ready and full of energy, the right kind of energy. So yoga, and of course, actually, here's one thing, and I think Six might laugh when I say this. It's eating oatmeal every day. I have never been an oatmeal fan in my life until I met Six. I wouldn't even say I'm a fan, but with the right amount of goji berries and walnuts and nuts and maca powder and whatever things I can put in there to jazz it up and up the nutrients and the taste. Oatmeal will be any pregnant mom's best friend, because I'm going to be super real right here, right now. Constipation is something that is very common and you want to avoid. Oatmeal every day, ladies, listen up. So oatmeal and yoga.
That's a gem right there. Let's talk about Six for a second. I know Six is a regular consumer because he was just on the other day and always has a J on him, I feel like. So what has it been like, trying to abstain yourself for the most part, and being around someone that's a regular consumer for the most part? How do you guys balance that?
Honestly, it hasn't been very challenging at all. In solidarity with me throughout this process, he has given up drinking, which I'm so grateful for. We like to drink together. It's like, it's no fun when your partner can't drink. So, I thank him for that. But I know that he consumes cannabis to keep on a level, and I don't want to take that away from him. It's been all right for me. Actually, I've been okay. If I feel super stressed, or if I need a little something extra, maybe to relieve some back pain or something. If everything I've tried isn't working, then I'll reach for a tincture, like CBD tincture or some CBD gummies. In my third trimester, I have very lightly incorporated some Delta-9 gummies. I like them because they are very effective on the body for relieving back pain, any tension in the joints, really, but much less psychoactive. But that's just very occasional. My concern with consuming THC throughout the pregnancy was mostly in the beginning half, in the first 2 trimesters. That's when baby is going through the most development, developing their brains and organs. And so I was very careful with anything I put in my body then. I still am, everything organic, greens all the time, everything fresh. So now that, she's in a space where she could actually survive outside of the womb, I feel like I can introduce a little more.
Janet, can you tell or explain what Delta-9 is to our audience? Maybe folks don't know what that is.
Sure. Well, it's a compound of THC. It's an isolated compound, and it's much less psychoactive than THC, but it still does have the physical benefits of relaxing any tension, muscle aches. So kind of similar to what people are more familiar with CBD, but it does have a slightly heightened kind of euphoric effect on the mind. But let's see, I've asked a number of people because I wanted to get a comparison. It's really new on the market. Some folks who are regular consumers don't really feel the effects of the Delta-9, but I myself, since I've been so clean off of everything, it's just the right amount of heightening for me. And it's kind of, I guess THC, CBD, the Delta-9 kind of floats in between. But I don't feel foggy in the brain at all. I don't feel, quote unquote stoned when I consume it. It's more of just, to kind of relax the muscles.
Bonus points if you can explain Delta 8.
Delta 8. Similar in effect. It's also an isolated compound. But sadly, I just heard that FDA is putting Delta 8 and Delta 9 on the Schedule 1, which I feel like is a backpedal in the progression of what cannabis can do to help our communities. So I just, I really hope we can get on the research train here and really start putting out the benefits of these medicines, these natural plant medicines. I don't know if you have a better explanation for what Delta 8 is. I'm not like an expert on it, as you can.
No, I'm not an expert, and I totally put you on the spot, and that was fantastic. Given that, I mean, Delta 8, I won't even try to explain it, but is so much bigger like in the South, which makes sense because prohibition is so much harsher still out there. Whereas like in California, why would I go get like the kind of subset halfway version of the real deal? Unless there was like a very specific reason that exact compound was what I needed. So I think in California, in Colorado, it's not as big of a deal, but I've heard a lot of people from the South say it's huge. So I'm curious what that FDA guideline is going to affect out there. Lulu, I was going to switch over to post-pregnancy section, but do you have any more questions now?
Yeah, I got a couple questions, Janet. Like, how did you have any concerns about being pregnant and working in cannabis? I know you kind of dropped that information about, when you first are being tested for pregnancy, the doctor is required by law to actually report your, tests if you're positive for cannabis or any other substance. Like, did you have any concerns?
No, honestly, I've been working in this space for over, for almost 20 years, and this is where I feel most at home. We work in a very loving community, very supportive of this pregnancy, and even when I come back from maternity leave, my company is ready and willing to work with what is going to be best for me and my schedule in order to take care of our baby. So I had no concerns. If anything, I wanted to use that as a platform to answer questions for people who were curious. So, for example, family members like, oh, but wait, you work in peds, but how's that work? I'm like, it's a job. I go to work and I do my thing and I go home. It's not like I'm going to work and getting blazed. No, it's there's no concern. We work in a very safe space, wonderful community, and I'm so grateful that they're just so supportive. We had our baby shower last Friday. It was super fun.
Yeah, Six was mentioning that both of your companies were coming together for the baby shower. So it's cannabis baby, made cannabis baby. That's so dope.
There were pre-rolls in the piñata.
That's awesome. What type of questions were you getting? Common questions about cannabis and pregnancy. I'm sure, like, you being an educator and having this history, I'm sure there's a lot of women that were like, hey, Janet, what about this and what about that? Like, what were some of the common questions that you were asked, and what was your answers for those?
A big one that has come up is the question of, well, what about after? Are you gonna smoke while you're breastfeeding? Because oftentimes whatever the mom consumes will transfer through the breast milk. And knowing that we are built with an endocannabinoid system, I kind of have this theory, and Six and I are bouncing ideas like, well, what if I kept my consumption down to just before nighttime, before she goes to bed, and it'll just be like the relaxing milk for nighttime. It's definitely a theory, and it is plant medicine, and we're not afraid to try it out. But the research, what little research there is on the effects of cannabis during pregnancy, there is even less research out there or what happens during lactation. So I'm like, where are the scientists at? So it might just be, you know, our own trial, but there have been questions about consumption. Oh, how are you getting along without weed? I'm getting along just fine. I feel wonderful, and I've kind of surprised myself at how pure my system feels, and being able to reach for other herbal remedies and other natural ways to give my body the things it needs that cannabis was providing for me. So I just took a little more research, but I am kind of a research nerd, and I like looking things up and seeing what plants do what, and that is my kind of one of my big things I like to nerd out on plant medicine.
Yeah, I wish Peter was here because he's our resident nerd, and he's a neuroscientist. So like, because what I'm always curious about is like, we have all these conversations about natural things like marijuana during pregnancy or breast milk, but then I hear of, you know, girlfriends who are on SSRIs throughout their entire pregnancy, and then also, you know, post pregnancy and still on them during breastfeeding, or, you know, they're on the epidural when they have the baby. So I'm like, how does that not get to the baby? And those seem like so much more intense than having a little bit of cannabis. I don't know. Those are just things that pop into my head.
Right. I don't know either. So, you know, like, you know, my cousins say, we're here for you for any questions. I'm the youngest of 7 children, and the last
Oh, wow.
one to have kids of my own. So I've auntied about 17 wonderful nieces and nephews, and it's my turn now. And my brothers and sisters, they all say, we're here for you if you have any questions, because babies don't come with a manual, you know, so there is no right or wrong way. Just like your pregnancy, how you raise your kids is such a personal choice. And, you know, just Six and I are determined to arm this little one with knowledge and love and just everything positive to bring her up in, and just ultimately, you know, give her the tools to be an amazing person. So there's a little THC in my breast milk, you know, maybe that'll be the chill vibe. No, we'll see. We'll see.
I think you and Six are like so sweet and so awesome together. It'd be a really great, maybe, you know, this is something that you and he can create, you know, an education or suggestions for post pregnancy, and share that with folks, because there's not a lot out there at all.
Definitely. And yeah, I'm a little bit on the older side with, you know, the women on my team here. So this is for them a lot of their first interactions with a pregnant woman, so up close and personal. So with my team, we've been on this journey together. We've watched my belly grow from this little tiny bump to what it is now, and my little beach ball in here. And it's starting there with the questions and inquiries about pregnancy and cannabis. And yeah, I'm always so happy to share anything I find and just keep that dialogue going. And it's all about keeping that dialogue going, really, just to destigmatize this plant. It's not scary. It's not a scary drug. It's here to help people. It's been here helping people for centuries. And, you know, I'm sure I'm not the first pregnant mom who's had these questions of consumption during this time. So yeah, I think we'll be fine. The baby will be great, and we'll continue to find our answers along the way.
All right. So I think we maybe have like one or two final questions. I just want to ask if there's anybody in the Zoom that wants to come off audio or ask a question. If you're in the YouTube, we love you, but you're missing out the opportunity to ask a question and just kind of engage with our audience, with our guests here. So I'll give it a second to see if anybody wants to join. Lulu, do you have any final questions while we wait?
I see on your Instagram, Janet, that you do traditional dance.
Oh yes.
Is that, have you been doing that with the baby as well?
I have. We joke that she is just going to come dancing out of this room. I do Polynesian dance, so that encompasses Tahitian and hula, Fiji, Maori. And that has been a really great way to also exercise and keep the pelvic floor strengthened and loose and ready. Actually, I just had my last dance class on Wednesday, just because, getting a little big here and a little harder to breathe. But I danced up until 8.5 months. And yeah,
Wow.
I can't wait to go back, and I can't wait to introduce baby to Polynesian dance as well. She'll already be familiar with the music and the rhythm of the body. So I feel like, that'll be something special we can share later.